Thank you very much for joining me. How you been? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Back. Steve Renazizi. I'm the guy. I'm the guy. Fucking lit. I'm the guy. Steve Renazizi. Lit. I'm the guy. I'm the guy. Fucking lit. I'm the guy. Steve Renazizi. What's the odds? What's the odds? What's the odds? What's
Ladies and gentlemen, it's What's the Odds with Steve Renazizi. Holy cow, I'm in Las Vegas, the land of gambling, the home of it all. Did I put a bet on the Giants last night? Yes. Did I take them with the points? Yes. Did I go to the wrong sports book and got 5 points instead of 5.5? Yes. Did I push? Yes. Was I going? Did I do a cannonball into the pool at the Circa when what's his name missed the field goal the last minute and a half? Yes. But did we win? No. The Giants did not win last night. They lost to the Cowboys by 5. I guess I know you were just saying there's reason to be optimistic. Yeah, we didn't get the doors blown off of our at home like we have most of the time for the last meetings against the Cowboys. And sometimes, I dare say sometimes, they actually looked pretty good. Malik Neighbors is a bona fide star. We got one. It's awesome. Let's hope that he's, not too banged up. He came out last, he's in concussion protocol, I think. I think he should be fine. But he is a star. And that's good news. Now, everything else around them can be fixed, tweaked, moved, whatever. But I think we are not as bad as we were last year, which is better. But still, damn, dude, could we have used that fucking win last night? And we had a chance, and we could have done it, and it didn't happen. So, it's not going to be a year where we're going to have one of those like, oh, shit, look at the Giants could actually sneak into the playoffs. It's going to be a dumpster fire, but it's not as bad as it was last year. And so we keep our heads up. That's how I'm feeling. That's my takeaway from it. What do you think?
Man, if you could have kept Saquon Barkley, you probably would have won last night, and you would be a team that's sneaking into the playoffs.
But
Daniel Jones played pretty decently. I don't want to say he played well. He didn't play bad.
He wasn't
making a ton of mistakes. He played perfectly fine and did everything. The only thing that I would be concerned is maybe the ball placement, because it seemed like from like the middle of the third quarter on, every time Neighbors would catch a pass and take a hit, he was getting, he was taking his time to get back up, and he's not like the biggest dude. So obviously he got hurt last night, and you don't want that to become a recurring thing where he just spends his whole career being injured. But the defense played pretty well. The offense moved the ball. They just couldn't finish in the red zone. Daniel Jones looked somewhat like a quarterback.
Yeah.
And like you said, Malik Neighbors, he's a superstar. So
yep, that's what I'm taking away from it. That's what I'm hanging my hat on. The fact that we have a superstar, we have someone that, is a playmaker, can make things happen with just catching the ball and doing what he does. So that's good. But, there are a lot of things that can't, I guess maybe ball placement. I really, I have to go back and kind of look at he had a lot. I'm in the PPR, so a couple of fantasy PPR. So that was huge. Malik Neighbors was huge. 15 receptions, I think he had.
So was Wan'Dale Robinson out of nowhere.
Yeah, because we have to have some sort of threat. You can't, the first 2 weeks, they looked like a team that like run the ball, 3rd down and 5, pass the ball, maybe get a first down, but probably not. Move on, kick, let the defense go. And it's like, we've got to put a little more like sauce on the game plan as far as fucking offense is concerned. And it'll be a little more unpredictable. It's not, I'm not saying that they have to turn into the San Francisco 49ers, and I'm not asking Daboll to do. I mean, I'd love to see an offense that's like the Bills' old offense, but they don't have the playmakers that the Bills had. They don't have Josh Allen. So they need to. You're not just going to put the ball in Daniel Jones' hands and say go win the game. But I like the fact that he got the ball to Neighbors, which he didn't do week one, and a little bit more week two. But they got the ball to Neighbors. 15 times they looked, and more times they looked for him. I mean, the last play of the game, well, the fourth down, he had it, and then he just went to the ground and lost it, and that was where the concussion came in. He got slammed into the fucking ground.
Yeah.
So they got the ball to their playmakers, or at least they tried to, which is I think is the right move. So again, here's the other thing I take away from it: the Cowboys aren't that fucking good either. In fact, they suck. They should have won by at least 2 touchdowns yesterday, and they didn't. So they have nothing to write home about either. They shouldn't be too excited.
And they've got a lot of issues. You've got Micah Parsons high ankle sprain, and what's this dude? The other guy that was showing out, he's banged up. What's his name? Hooker?
Look, yeah. None of us are the Bills. None of us are the Bills. Let's just put it that way. None of us have. I mean,
you're not even the Seahawks at this point. But yes, I understand what you're saying. I would be concerned though. The Cowboys are just about as bad against the run as any team in football, and the fact that Singletary he made a couple of good moves, like that fourth down run where he was dead in the backfield and made a little juke and got the first down was good. But the fact that I think he ran 12 or 13 times for 24 yards. You can't do that against the Cowboys and expect to win, because then you are putting too much on Daniel Jones, and he's not going to carry you.
And also, you don't want that to happen. You don't want that to happen. You want an offense that just has multiple players you can go to that can make things happen, and not just one. You have to have certain options where if they're going to double team Neighbors, and that's what's going to happen from now on, assuming that he's healthy going forward. He's going to see, that's who they know they can go at now. So that's who they're going to go after. And that's who defensive coordinators are going to make sure that he's not getting the ball 15 times a game. And so now it's up to the Giants to figure out how to get him the ball, to continue to get him the ball, and what to do when they can't get him. So,
are you in the bathroom, Steve?
Yeah. Why? Do you love it?
The echo is quite. Sounds like you're in a well.
I'm in a wishing well. I'm in the Bellagio fountains.
By the way, can I say I hated not going for it on 4th and goal at the 3-yard line?
Why?
I hate it when why do you settle for 3 points?
Because all we can do is kick. All we can do is kick.
Even if you miss it, the Cowboys are so pinned back there. They have the worst running game in the league. I don't know. I hated that, but also as a quasi-Giants fan, losing last night maybe isn't the worst thing, because it increases the chances to get Belichick. It keeps McCarthy in Dallas, who is probably, I think, the worst coach in the league.
That's all I've been hearing about today is Belichick. Belichick. I'm not looking at it like a Belichick sweepstakes that we're trying to win. I'm just looking at let's just see if we can make the best team out of next year out of what we have this year. And that, to me, whatever that means, maybe that means getting a great draft pick so that we can finally get a quarterback that everybody believes in, or it might even mean cleaning fucking house and having someone come in. Now, again, I don't want Bill Belichick picking my next quarterback if I'm a Giants fan. I just don't. I don't trust it. So that's what's going to happen.
There's a chance, too. The first quarterback is Deion's kid, too.
I might be, too.
I think you'd be better off with Jones.
Well, I think
you'd be better off getting another skill. Look at how the offense at least looks competent compared to last year, because you gave him Malik Neighbors. Give him another piece, get a little bit of less pressure off of Malik Neighbors, and have 2 weapons, and this offense will move. Dable's a good offensive-minded coach.
I just don't
Daniel
see
Jones
how.
is not a bad quarterback.
I understand, but I just don't see how. I mean, you're gonna
And
pay
you've
him
already
$50
paid
million
him.
next year.
Yeah, you've paid him. Who's
But
going to
he's
take him?
not.
No
He's
one's going
not
to trade
guaranteed
for him. No
next
one's
year.
going to take him.
You can cut him.
You don't need to.
I understand,
You're
but
gonna you're gonna waste a draft pick on the next year's class is not going to be very good. This was the year to get a quarterback. You didn't get a quarterback this year. You're not going to get one next year. Get a good skill position. Get another receiver. Get a running back. You need a running back.
I know, but we need to have a quarterback that you know is going to be the quarterback for the next X amount of years. Not like stopgap fill-ins for the next fucking 4 or 5 years.
I don't
dude.
think you
can't
need
do
to make
it.
that move yet.
Well, but they almost did it this year.
And
They almost
how
did it this year. And by the way,
how fortunate are you that you didn't? Malik
if
Neighbors
they-
is going to be your
listen.
receiver for a decade.
if they did, I can't. I don't know how you felt, but like to me, watching Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors so far they're easily the two best offensive rookies. I think
You're out of
in
your
the
mind.
NFL.
You're out
Who's
of your
better?
mind. You're
Who's
out of your
better?
mind. Jaden Daniels. Did
Jaden
you watch?
Dan-
Did you watch
Yeah.
week 1 and 2?
Dude, did you watch the last 2 weeks?
The last 1 week.
The last
He's had
1 week, I mean, yeah, okay.
horrible games
Yeah.
where he couldn't throw the ball 5 yards.
Okay.
He had one game where he showed out on Monday night.
Okay.
Let's see if we get Jackal or Hyde on Sunday when he's not prime time Monday Night Football. Let's see who he really is. I don't believe in him yet. He needs to show it more than just one game.
He plays a harder position.
By the way, against the Bengals, against the 0-3 Bengals, who have maybe the worst defense in football.
Okay, the 0-3 Bengals. Now we're going to go to the fact that the Bengals suck this year. So now we're going to grade.
Suck. Their defense sucks.
We're
That's
going to grade
undeniable.
Jaden Daniels on a curve. I'm telling you, dude, that kid is going to be dynamite. That kid is going to be dynamite. Okay.
We shall see because he showed nothing week 1 and 2.
He
can take off running, but he cannot throw the ball. And he was scared to throw the ball. He couldn't push it down the field.
If the Giants had him, then I would feel better about going and getting Belichick and being like, all right.
I think you dodged a bullet.
I don't know. I don't think so, dude. I think the two of them, I look at him and I'm like, well, if we had Jaden Daniels, then we can get Belichick, but we wouldn't have Neighbors. So you'd have no one to throw the ball to.
You're going to tell me, because you watched Hard Knocks with the Giants, you watched Dable grill Jaden Daniels in the room, and you're telling me that he seemed like he was the sharpest quarterback coming out of that class, and he knew what he was talking about.
Dable did too.
That made him look so bad.
No, you're talking about the wrong scene, dude. Jaden Daniels broke down the offense. You remember when he was like, with Dable, he was like, holy shit. Dable was so impressed with him because he remembered all the plays. He remembered all the X's and the Y's and the things.
I think you're jumping the gun.
No. Then then he was interviewing him and he was talking to him about like, hey, man, your home life, blah, blah, blah. Hey, what was that play I gave you before? Tripled X, Y, Z, and X, flip Y. He's like, yeah, flip Z. That's all right, though. Good job. Dude, he was so impressive. So
agree to disagree.
Dude, there's no Brendan, you cannot agree to disagree on a fact, okay?
That wasn't a fact. I saw that very differently. They weren't impressed. They were being nice on camera to him.
True or false? Did during the Hard Knocks, did Dable say to Shane, Shane said to Dable, is there anyone you move up to get that quarterback? And he said, Jaden Daniels. The only one. I would trade that pick up to get Jaden Daniels. Dable said it.
I think you're very, very fortunate that you didn't do that, and you're going to see it play out. You have another potential Anthony Richardson on your hands.
Much like you with your picks like last week when I told you, I'm like, I don't feel good about your picks. You don't care, Brenton. You do what you want to do. You have your own fucking opinion, and that's okay. It's always wrong. That's all right. My point is this. I'm a Giants fan. Let me worry about my fucking team and what I want. I want a quarterback that I know is going to be the quarterback for the next 4 fucking years, dude. That's what I want.
That could be
5,
Daniel
6,
Jones.
7 years.
That could easily be Daniel Jones. You're going to watch Daniel Jones go somewhere else, and he's going to play really good football.
See, what I think the move, though, is for some quarterbacks, though, because teams are paying them so much that I think you're going to see more teams adopt the Minnesota Vikings model of taking a chance on a Sam Darnold, a washed-up QB from another team who was a top 5 pick. Same with Baker Mayfield, getting a couple years cheap out of him. I think Darnold's going to finish top 5 MVP.
Oh, Mayfield
got all the tools.
Mayfield wasn't cheap. He's still getting 30-some million a year.
Well, now he is, but for the last
But,
couple years,
yeah,
he wasn't.
Darnold's a lottery ticket that they are cashing big on right now. But Daniel Jones, 15 million is a steal in this market. He's a very startable quarterback in the NFL, and you're getting him for 15 million. I would take that. And then
15?
Yeah, isn't the next year the 15?
50 million, dude.
He's not getting 50. He's not getting
Look it up,
50.
Brendan.
I think Steve's right.
Oh,
yes.
Well, you guys need to fire Joe Schoen.
Oh, shut the fuck
Jesus
up, Brendan.
Christ.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill you, dude. I'm going to fucking murder you.
Daniel
Dude.
Jones. He signed a 4-year, $160 million deal.
So aggravated right now. I'm so hungover.
He's getting 50 million?
Well,
50.
Okay, so his cap hit last year was 15 million. His cap hit this year is 47.5 million.
For that.
That sucks.
Yeah, it does suck, dude. It does suck. So that's my fucking point, Brendan. Don't argue with me about this. I'm going to have a heart attack.
You know what you should do is you should trade for Bryce Young.
You know, they talked about that too. Look, that would be like a thing. You still got to pay that guy at some point.
Yeah.
You know, if it works out.
You got Tannehill sitting out there. You could go make a play for Justin Fields when they decide
Carolina,
to bench him. Dude,
Carolina, I guarantee you.
Fields.
Well, it's over. They got him in Pittsburgh, and he's going to be the starter there. That would have been a fucking move. That would have been a fun move to have. I would have enjoyed that move. But you're not getting Bryce Young for anything. Carolina's not giving him up for just giving him up. They're not going to give him away. They're not going to give him.
I was joking. You don't want him. I mean, I've never seen a team completely turn around that much, and it's clearly because of one position.
But you think about it, dude. They're still going to want value on return for him. They gave up so much to get him, and although it hasn't worked out, they're still going to want at least a first-round pick back for him. They might not get it right away.
They're never going to get that.
But that's what they'll probably ask for. So again, you know, that's not the answer.
They'd be better off getting that from Andy Dalton than they would Bryce Young. Bryce Young is officially a bust.
Yeah. Yeah.
He might be the biggest bust ever.
And that's probably the worst trade of all time.
Because at least Marcus wasn't sacrificed for 3 first-round picks.
He also played a couple of seasons where he put up at least okay numbers before he fell off in year 3. Bryce Young hasn't done anything. He's looked like the worst quarterback ever to step on the field.
Who do the Bills have this week?
Sunday Night Football, Baltimore.
All right.
Big game.
Home or away?
We are on the road.
Away in Baltimore. I haven't looked at the spread on that one. I assume that Baltimore is probably a 1-point favorite, or they're a dog.
I bet it's even. I bet. Yeah, it sounds about right. I'll say 1.5.
Just because they're home, which is basically a push game.
Yeah, you get the 3 points for being at home.
But as a Bills fan, the Ravens have never scared me.
They've handled the Ravens. They've handled Lamar over the years. This is probably the worst defense on paper that they've had against him so far. But that defense is also playing really fucking good football right now. But we are going to be without Bernard and Johnson again. So that sucks.
I didn't expect Damar Hamlin to make the team.
And now he's leading the team in tackles.
Yeah,
great.
He has more.
Okay, so it is. The Bills are 2.5-point dogs.
2.5.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take the Bills all day long.
Yeah, I mean, it should be
that.
A pretty competitive game, and it's the highest. It's the second highest over/under on the whole slate. Speaking of lines, so we've made some history so far this year.
Who's we?
Just everyone in general, just the world of football.
World.
So since they've been setting lines in the Super Bowl era since like the 60s, never in the history of football has the most favored team lost each of the first 3 weeks to start a season. And 2 of those so far have been the Bengals. They were the favorite against the Patriots week 1, and they were the favorite against the heaviest favorite against the Commanders this past week. So
If
this
you're
week,
still alive and you're,
this is interesting, guys. This is very well. The biggest Survivor contest, Circus Survivor, it's like 14,000 contestants. They're already after 3 weeks down to 600 people. So
Yeah.
pretty much everyone and their mother lost the Cincinnati New England game because that was what everyone took. But the biggest spread this week to keep the trend going is very interesting. It's going to be San Francisco at home. They're giving 10 points to the Patriots, but San Francisco, as you know, is just about as injured as anybody. Brock Purdy is going to play, but he was limited this week. He's been banged up. Debo's suited up for practice today, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to play. We know McCaffrey's out. Kittle is 50-50 to play. They lost Hargrave on defense. They're missing a few other pieces on defense. Like, it's a very banged up San Francisco team that just got beat by the Rams, who were even more banged up. So 10 points. And the Patriots have looked good 2 of the 3 weeks. Maybe this is another potential upset.
No, you're looking for upsets. You're so nervous now.
Well, we're just keeping the trends going. I'm
every
just saying.
week, Brendan. You've lost all 3 weeks in your picks. I don't think you picked one game right this year. On the podcast, at least. Am I right?
I think you're right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm 3-0 and you're 0-3.
It's a long season. I'm a slow starter. I'm going to peak here this week, and then we are just going to ride that train to the finish line.
But I feel like now you're fishing for upsets just because you're nervous.
I'm creating a narrative. I'm not going to touch. I wouldn't touch the Patriots because they're a dog shit team. I think they're probably. I mean, I thought Carolina was the worst team, but now that Andy Dalton's quarterback, I think Carolina's back to being at least competent football. So the Patriots are probably the worst team in football. That being said, San Francisco is so banged up, and the Patriots can play a little bit of defense that this could be interesting. I don't think it's necessarily a 10-point game.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. Again, it's been a very wacky fucking season so far.
Scoring's very down.
You think that it's going to go one way and everyone's zigging when everyone else is zagging. So I don't feel like it's a crazy thought to think that the 49ers could, keep the Patriots around all game long, where they're within 7 points at the end of the game, and they can go, they can possibly win the game and keep it with a shore. So not a crazy thought on Sunday night, but yeah, that's not the craziest thought. But yeah, it's nuts every week now. I don't know. What's the biggest spread as far as like point differential this week? Is that it? 10 points
that was it. Yeah, that's why I brought it up, because that biggest spread has lost. The favorite has lost every week so far. So if that's going to happen again,
they've lost with the points, or with
they've lost the game, like straight up lost.
Wow.
And that's never happened.
And it could, you're right. It could happen again this week. I would not be shocked. The game was like the star power on the sidelines was even, was outweighed the people that played in the game. It was still San Francisco looked bad. They did not look the way they looked against the Jets week 1. And I got to say, against the Jets week 1, it wasn't necessarily the offense that was so great. It was their defense. And their defense hasn't looked that good. So, I guess if you're going to go by your theory, how do you say his fucking name? Stevenson? He'll probably have to have a big week.
Yeah.
Ramondre Stevenson. So you might want to look, if you're into Brenton's theory, you might want to look at him for a fantasy implications as far as daily fantasy is concerned.
Terrible fantasy week last week, so I think a lot of people will be off him in DFS. So if you're going to use him, this is an interesting week to do it in tournaments.
Speaking of, I know I already nailed you on the fact that you can't pick an NFL game to save your life. How are you doing with DFS so far this year?
My tournament lineups have been solid. My cash lineups have been dog shit. So
Yeah,
it's been up and down.
up and down. Is the fact that you're spread a little thin right now? Is it hurting, or is it just the fact that it's unpredictable so far this year?
Well, it's been very unpredictable. I think it doesn't help that I'm not sleeping. Um, that certainly my brain is
Yeah,
not firing on all cylinders, but
yeah.
the fact that scoring's been way down, and there were some players that I'm heavily invested in that so far. I mean, the first week none of them panned out, and that was apparent in like my season long teams. And then the second week, a few of them started to figure it out. But like, there's certain players that I'm just really invested in that are just not fitting the new system and not working out. Like DeAndre Swift, I thought would be so good in Chicago. He would catch passes from Caleb Williams. Obviously, the system that they're running doesn't fit his skill set, and he's looked like shit. Um, Devontae Adams is now out again, and he's been pretty up and down. He had a great week 2, but weeks 1 and 3 were pretty disappointing, and now he's got a hamstring thing. The one thing that I do love, I've been telling Lucas for probably 5 years that DK Metcalf is the greatest, and he's finally looking like it. He seems to have figured out, like, let's just throw the ball up to the gigantic man who can outrun everybody, and he'll jump up and catch it and go for long touchdowns. So that's been good. I've been using him a lot, but yeah, it's been pretty unpredictable. A lot of teams that we thought were going to be good are really bad. The Bengals are the biggest of that. And then some teams that we didn't really expect anything from, like Seattle's 3-0.
Do you think the Bengals can make the playoffs, or is it over?
No, their defense is really bad. Their offense is good enough that they can stay in games, but if your defense can't stop a rookie quarterback and make him look like a god on Monday Night Football at home, like you're not gonna stop anybody. So here's what you take away from that. If Cincinnati is playing somebody and you want to use people on DraftKings, whoever they're playing, use those pieces. This week it's Carolina. So yeah, use Chuba Hubbard, use Deontay Johnson. Like they're all in play, especially with Andy Dalton at quarterback, because that offense looked pretty decent. And Cincinnati can't stop. They can't get even Hendrickson. He's not really getting. He got 1 sack against Washington, but he didn't really do anything for 4 quarters until he got that sack. They're just a huge letdown. San Francisco, same thing. Like that's a team that should be 3-0, and they're 1-2, and they're just nosediving.
Yeah, it's crazy. Even Detroit hasn't looked great so far. Not like they looked last year.
No,
Minnesota,
Cleveland should be way better.
Yeah, yeah. I think Cleveland's probably.
And Jacksonville, I would never have taken Jacksonville to beat Buffalo at home, but I wouldn't expect them to get blown out like that.
Well, Jacksonville's another one.
That wasn't even a game, and they should have lost. They blew the game to Miami, and then they got their asses handed to them. Who'd they play week 2? That was Cleveland. They didn't get their asses handed to them, but that was closer than it should have been. And then they just absolutely got blown out. And then did you see the worst part of the whole thing? They couldn't leave Buffalo until really late at night because their airplane had malfunctions and they had to repair it.
What?
So they were basically stuck at the airport. They get their asses kicked, and then they're just stuck at the airport. They didn't leave till like after 1 a.m.
And then they had to get on the fucking Big Bopper, the plane that they just fixed, and hopefully, it's not around the corner from Buffalo to Jacksonville.
No. So
that's a shitty week. Look, I think Doug Peterson, is on the hot seat.
It should be Trevor Lawrence that's on the hot seat.
Yeah, both.
But they just paid him. Feel bad about Daniel Jones. At least you're not Jacksonville.
He looked terrible. Was it Monday night they played Jacksonville?
That was the earlier game Monday. Do you like, by the way, having 2 games on Monday?
No. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's Monday Night Football is supposed to be one fucking game. You don't want to flip around on Monday night. I just want it to be easy.
I like it. I would rather have 2 Monday night games every week and not do Thursday. And I think the players would agree.
Thursday's not going anywhere, dude.
I know,
not losing Thursday.
But they could move Amazon to the earlier game on Monday and let ESPN do the late game.
It's dumb. The 2 games on Monday is dumb. I want one game where I don't have to flip the channel. I can go at halftime, go, fucking do some shit or I don't have to flip over to another game. I understand it's just, it's more football, but I just feel like Monday night should be one fucking game. That's my opinion. Do you think that which head coach now that the Cowboys won? Because I think the answer would have been pretty clear had they not. But which head coach gets fired first? Does a head coach get fired in the next 4 to 5 weeks? And who is that head coach in your estimation? I'm putting money on Doug Peterson, or who was my other person I was thinking about? Doug Peterson or well, it's going to be McCarthy, but yeah, I think Doug Peterson's going to probably lose his job in the next 4 to 5 weeks, especially if they continue on the trend they're going.
I still think it's McCarthy.
Really?
Because they're going to lose the next 2 weeks.
Who do they play?
I know they're both competitive. Then they have a bye week, so he could be fired after the bye week.
The Steelers and
That's
then
a
the
loss.
Lions.
Yeah. They're going to lose those 2 games, and they could lose those 2 games badly.
And then the old coach gets fired over the bye week.
Mm-hmm.
That could be the indicator. How if they lose, how badly they lose, and how they look, more important.
Well, their defense is going to be crippled.
Yeah. Do they look like a crippled defense, or a defense that's not motivated or not in sync? Because that will be the easiest way to send him fucking packing. But yeah, no, I think Doug Peterson's definitely on the hot seat, and I think Trevor Lawrence should be too. Obviously, he's not going to be. He's got paid, and
he's their franchise 200 million guaranteed. So, but I still think
that the Deshaun Watson deal will go down as the worst in the history of the NFL, from a financial aspect, and also for the results you got for the money you paid.
In hindsight, yes, but I think the Browns made the best move for them at the time that it was made, because you had a guy who, before all the allegations, looked like Patrick Mahomes and was putting up really great numbers on a bad team, and they needed a franchise quarterback. To your point, that would be their guy for the next 4 to 5 years. So I don't disagree with going after him. Maybe they gave him too much guaranteed money, and that was stupid since no one had done that before.
Coming off, he was injured when they signed him, right?
No, he was suspended, so he just didn't play for a year.
Okay. I didn't know if he was injured when they signed into that deal, assuming that he'd be back at 100%. But still, assuming that he would be fine coming off of a year of suspension or whatever it was, 8-game suspension, and not playing. Yeah, it's just a lot of money. But anyway, trust me, Cleveland knows that they fucked that up. And
yeah, but fortunately for them, now you have Jacksonville's fucked it up. Miami potentially has fucked it up. You have, I think, the Packers. Jordan Love is a good quarterback, but he's not the highest paid quarterback of all time with the most guaranteed money of all time. And then you got Dallas giving Dak way too much. So now that the market has kind of reset, where it's just like we're giving the entire franchise to the quarterback, it doesn't look as bad. I agree, in hindsight, it's a horrible decision that they made, and it was a bad deal. But at the time, if he had panned out, they would have been geniuses. And Cleveland, with that defense, would probably be in a Super Bowl.
The worst, I think that there will be worse value to come as far as who's getting paid and what they're getting. But I think that was the beginning of it. That was the trend setting. The Browns signing him to that deal and all that guaranteed money based on not a ton of success. Yeah, he had success in Houston and he led them to the playoffs and he looked very good. But, the allegations and everything, and then obviously the injuries and stuff, it's been a disaster. So, we'll see. We will see. But, yeah, I think Doug Peterson's gone in the next 3 weeks. But you think McCarthy? I
still think it's McCarthy because Jerry Jones is a lunatic.
You got my pick for this week. The Buffalo Bills over the Baltimore Ravens Monday night. I like it on the money line. You can take all the points you want. I don't give a shit. I think the Bills are going to win. I think they're going to win by a touchdown or more. I really do.
I hope so.
He's just playing on a different level than everyone else. He's playing on a level that Josh Allen is that you hope your quarterback would play on. He's making.
But
I have to give you
Steve,
credit.
the turnovers.
The Khalil, he hasn't turned the ball over. I mean, look, Shakir has
He's
been
the
a star for
turnover king.
them.
He
The most
can't play
overrated player in the league.
quarterback. He's overrated, and he talks trash, and he turns the ball over too much.
I know. That's what everyone said, and now he's proving everyone wrong. So let's hope it continues for your sake, for Lucas's sake, and for the city of Buffalo's sake. I hope it continues.
And I cut you
I
off.
really do.
Now say something nice about Khalil Shakir.
He's turning. Well, I was going to say something nice more about Josh Allen. That he's making Khalil Shakir look like an all-star. Now he is a very good player, but he's he's like
I saw this coming. This happened. He set the record. He set Buffalo's franchise record for 22 straight receptions on 22 targets in the playoffs last year. Khalil Shakir is this guy. That guy does not drop the ball.
Yeah,
he didn't drop the ball in college. He led the college football in reception rate, and I think he led them in total receptions his senior year. His only knock is he's a little bit smaller, but I mean, you watch him after he catches the ball. The guy, yards after catch, he's just eluding people. He's so good. His route running is impeccable. His hands are perfect, and he makes everybody miss after he catches the ball. He's had 2 touchdowns this year where like he should have been tackled 5 or 6 times and still got in.
All right, well, why don't you fucking blow him then, bro?
I fucking love that guy. I thought that was the best. He was a 5th round pick.
Awesome.
Steal the draft 3 years ago. The guy is a Pro Bowler.
Well, tell me your game you want to fucking lose now, because considering you can't pick a fucking game to save your life.
You're gonna like this.
Oh God.
You're gonna love this. You're gonna see your golden slipper, your little glass slipper, turn back into a pumpkin. Okay, because Arizona is going to beat Washington at home this weekend. Jaden Daniels is going to look very human again. And the Cardinals have been playing very good football. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a bona fide superstar. Kyler Murray has looked as good as just about any quarterback in the league so far. The only caveat is Trey McBride has already been ruled out, but you got Wilson, who's been playing great as a wide receiver too, across from Marvin Harrison. And I think Arizona keeps it rolling. They've got a good defense. Budda Baker is going to intercept Jaden Daniels at least one time. Jaden Daniels will turn the ball over probably 3 times in this game, and the Cardinals are going to win by a touchdown.
What is the spread and where is the game?
It's in Arizona, and Arizona is giving 3.5 points. The over-under is 49. It's the highest point total, game score total on the slate.
So you like Arizona to win on the money line, correct?
Yes.
Jeez. Giving you points, Brenton. Why don't you want to take them?
Because they're going to win this game. Washington is not a good football team. I just think we also saw that Cincinnati is really not a good football team, but we all had it in our heads that they were a good football team. So we're giving Washington more credit than they deserve.
I'm hoping you're right, because obviously Washington's a division rival, but I don't know, dude.
I've been really impressed with Arizona.
Why? Because they almost beat you week 1?
They almost beat Detroit as well. They're playing very competitive football, and they have a pretty decent football team.
What do you feel about that pick, Brent? Lucas?
I agree with it.
Oh, God.
Arizona is good.
Yeah, I mean, they're not as bad as they were last year. But I'm not a believer, and I am a believer.
I'm not the Jaden Daniels hater that Brenton is, but
yeah.
I'm not a hater. I just don't think you can anoint him after one game.
I'm saying what other offensive rookies are better than him besides Malik Neighbors?
I think Caleb Williams is still a better quarterback. What? He just hasn't figured it out yet. He's got better raw skills, for sure. I would still take Caleb Williams over Jaden Daniels. And Drake May hasn't been given an opportunity, but I would take Drake May over Jaden Daniels.
Wow, you're dumb. Lucas, who do you like this week?
This is by far, I think, the easiest pick of the week.
Here we go.
I can't believe the spread is as small, but give me the Steelers over the Colts.
Yes.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, that's another team, the Colts, that we were hoping were going to be decent, and they've looked really, really bad.
Yeah. They've I thought I picked them to beat Houston 1 week. I can't remember what week it was when they played Houston, whatever week that was. I think
Yeah,
it took
me
with the
too.
points. Yeah, I think it took the points, so I made it out alive on that one. But yeah, they have not shown up the way I thought that they would show up this year in Indianapolis. And Anthony Richardson does not look very good at all, dude. He's taking a
He's
step back. I don't know if
like
it's
a
health.
50% completion percentage. No, he's just not. Look, they knew drafting him he was going to be a project, and he is not coming along as far as a passer. He's got the big arm, but he has no accuracy. If anything
Yeah,
under 10 yards, he's going to miss you by 5 yards and overthrow, and he's throwing picks, and he's turning the ball over, and um, they're in trouble. Their defense also
yeah,
hasn't been playing very well. Jonathan Taylor's been the bright spot, but like Michael Pittman just doesn't fit in that offense, and he's just been a ghost for 3 weeks. And that's a problem. They signed him to a pretty big contract. I think he got like 96 million over 3 years or something, or 4 years.
yeah, yeah. No, he's getting paid. Yeah. I'm worried about the fact that I mean Pittsburgh is just they're 3-0, right?
They're 3-0. Their defense is far and away, without a doubt, the best
The
defense in
best.
football right now. It's not even close. And
TJ Watt
Justin Fields
is
hasn't done anything crazy so far, but he's gotten better every week.
well, he's 3-0. He has half as many wins as a starter on Pittsburgh, I think, that he did in Chicago. I think he had like 6-7 wins in Chicago as a
No,
starter.
they almost made the playoffs last year. I think they were 8-9.
But was he the starter, or they pulled him at the end of the year last year?
No, that was Carr that they pulled, I think. Was that
Oh,
Carr or was
okay.
that 2 years ago? 2 years ago, Carr
I don't
No,
remember.
Russell Wilson got pulled last year in Denver
Yeah,
over
because they didn't want him
the
getting
injury
hurt.
contract thing.
Yeah,
No, Fields started every game that he wasn't hurt. I think he missed a couple of games, and we got to see Tyler Badgett and his dad, the arm wrestler. That was like a
yeah,
big primetime story. But when Fields played, he looked good in Chicago. I thought Chicago should have kept him and drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. I still stand by that, but Caleb Williams is a good football player that over time I think we'll all agree was the right pick. Um, but I think Pittsburgh is really set up to, their Super Bowl window starts now. Fields will continue to develop and get better. They need to sign him to a longer deal. They need to get another receiver across from Pickens, and that team with that defense is going to win a Super Bowl probably in the
sick.
next couple of years.
And Mike Tomlin will go down as one of the greatest head coaches in the history of the NFL.
Is he not already?
I mean, yes, you're right. He is already 20 seasons without a losing season.
It's insane.
That's insanity. And he's got 2 Super Bowls, I believe, to boot.
Mm-hmm.
Right? 1 or 2.
At least one. I think just
Yeah,
one.
no, I think he's just one. Did
Yeah.
Roethlisberger get one with Cowher before him, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's got a Super Bowl, and according to Brenton, he might get another one. So what does that
I think he's going to get another one. I don't know if it'll be this year, but I think if they can get another piece, like maybe, I don't. Were we talking off camera or on camera about Devontae Adams maybe being traded? What if Devontae Adams goes to Pittsburgh, and they push all their chips in this year, and Fields continues to get better and better, and then gets his legs back. He hasn't really been running yet, and that's a big part of his game. So what if they unleash that, and he has Devontae Adams and George Pickens and that defense suddenly?
Does
who's gonna
Russell
beat
Wilson
Pittsburgh?
see the ball again this year as a starting quarterback?
Only if Fields has 2 bad games in a row.
2 bad games in a row.
It has to be
Okay.
2 bad games.
It's not just when he comes back healthy, 100% ready to go. No, I don't think so either.
This is Fields' team.
So what is I don't know, financial wise, what is that? What do those 3 bets get us? Do you have
Okay, so Buffalo on the money line, Arizona on the money line, and Pittsburgh -1.5, $50 is going to get us $258.
I don't know if you saw this, but I saw that DraftKings and FanDuel announced their 2024 financials. They've made like something like 9 point something billion dollars so far this year. What I found very interesting was 85% of that is on parlays. 10% of it is on the online gaming,
Yep.
like roulette and blackjack, and then 5% is on straight fucking bets.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that 9.2 billion we are responsible for, but we're pretty we're heavy into it, I think.
I'm pretty deep in the hole on these parlays.
So the parlays, although we do it every week, we realize that the risk is very, very high. The reward is almost non-existent ever there. And just take that into consideration when you're making your bets at home. If you don't
Maybe
feel,
split them up, do them separate.
split them up.
We've been told to by many listeners over the years,
Yep.
and we've continued to ignore them.
And now that the facts are very evident and in our face, we will continue to ignore them this week. And I appreciate that about us, the sloppiest podcast in the history of mankind. I'm happy with that. I'm also happy, not to change the subject too abruptly, but the Yankees clinched the AL East. So that means we do not have to play in the first round of the playoffs, which I like. Get a little bit of a rest, set up the pitching rotation as we see fit, and hopefully we'll have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So I'm very excited about that. Although there are some injuries.
I don't know if Judge is on a 5-game home run streak, but the Chicago White Sox are the hottest team in baseball. So I don't know.
What do they win? 3 in a row?
I think they've won 3 in a row. So they're tied with the 62 Mets for 120 losses in the modern era. And they're sitting on that 120 losses. They've got Detroit on the road. If they win out, I mean, it's very possible. And Judge could also get 60.
Unfortunately for them, they're about to play the hottest team in baseball, the Detroit Tigers, who will not make the playoffs probably, but
no, they've got a 2-game lead in the wild card.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
They're up 2 games? I thought they were down 2 games. I thought they were down.
They're up they're up 3 games. The Twins lost and the Mariners won, but they're 3 games up on them with 3 to go? Yeah.
Oh,
so
all
they
right.
they just need to win 1 game or have either of those teams lose.
Detroit will sweep this weekend. And the White Sox will tie the Mets, which is fine. I mean, you got to, like, if you're the White Sox, you want this thing to be over as quickly as possible, moving on with your lives and trying to figure out how to fucking get past this dumpster fire. But I do think that the Tigers are a team you do not want to play in the playoffs. So I'm hoping they get bounced in round 1 in the wild card round. So then we don't have to see them in the playoffs, because that's not a team I want to play right now. Not as hot as they are. Skubal, I don't know how you say his name, Skubal. That guy's lights out. He's had a fucking insane year and an even better second half. So I do not want to play the Detroit Tigers in the playoffs at all. But I am excited that we do have home field advantage and, a little bit of time to rest, which I'm excited about. So, yeah.
I'd be curious to find out who has the worst run differential on a season, because the White Sox are minus 311 right now.
Oh, in the history of baseball?
In the history of baseball. Because the
Minus
next closest are the Rockies are at minus 228. So that's a pretty big discrepancy.
They've gotten outscored by 311 runs on the season. Good God.
Where's Billy Bean when you need him?
Oh, that's another sad. How many times have you listened to the music from Moneyball as they showed the last?
That's a different Billy Bean.
Oh, what do you mean? How many Billy Beans are there?
There were 2 Billy Beans. Billy Bean, the manager of the Oakland A's, and I guess he's now like the player. What is he? A player director assistant to these 2 guys played at the same time, but one has an E on the end of his name, and the other is no E. And he played for the Tigers and a couple other teams. And he was, I think, the first openly gay player, the Billy Bean that just passed away.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So 2 different guys. I was also confused when I saw that, and I looked into it.
I'm still confused.
And I didn't realize 2 different guys.
Well, the Billy Bean in Oakland, I was talking about Oakland played their last game in the Coliseum, and I liked that the fans brought water bottles and the grounds crew scooped up some dirt and poured them into them, because that's just a shitty situation. Although I did pass the yesterday coming to the hotel, the area where they're building the new stadium here, which will be done in 3 years. But I mean, imagine being a fucking professional baseball team, and now you have to go play at Sacramento at some like community college fucking stadium for 3 years.
Well, they could ask the Chargers about that.
Terrible, dude. It's terrible. And being an A's fan, it's got to suck.
Yeah. Well, being an
just,
Oakland fan's got to suck. You're losing all your teams.
you lost everyone to Vegas. They probably want to blow up Vegas. But that's where I am. If you are in Vegas this weekend, come say hello at Skankfest. I will be doing shows all weekend, so I'm all over the place. Come say hello, say what's up, and find out how we did with our bets this weekend. I think we're going to win, guys. I have a good feeling about this weekend. I'm very happy with my bet. I really like Lucas's bet, and Brendan, we'll see if you can. I don't know why you keep going with these obscure
If
little.
you wanna
feeling
bet
games,
some
but-
fun player props, Jaden Daniels anytime interception, get pretty good odds on that.
Well, you like Buda Baker to pick him off, so
Yeah,
why not?
Buda Baker's been playing lights out.
He's a great
He's
football
so
player.
fucking good.
He really is. He swarms to the ball, dude.
Mhm.
Swarms to the ball. I think that's it for us this week, guys. I appreciate you listening. Hopefully, we're going to win some money for us and for you. And let people know about the fact that we're doing that. If we win you money, let people know. Hey, I got this information from the best sloppiest podcast in the world. What's the odds with Steve Renazizi? So let them know. Let the people know. Hopefully, next week we'll be counting our winnings as we do this podcast. What do you
Hopefully
think?
the Bills will be 4-0. Best team in
I think
football.
the Bills will be 4-0. When's
big-
their first loss coming?
I mean, their schedule is tough. I believe they'll beat
Yeah,
the
they-
Ravens, but I wouldn't be shocked. But then they play the Texans on the road, and then they play the Jets on the road, and then they have the Titans at
Seahawks.
home, the Seahawks on the road. So, I mean, that's a tough
Yeah.
run. That's 5 games,
next-
but
Yep.
then they get the Dolphins at home. So,
Get right game.
yeah,
Well-
they could go 3-2, and I'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
But they could potentially go 4-1, and if they run the table, like, then we were asking the question, where do they lose?
Well, let's
Beyond that, I mean, maybe Kansas City, because they play after the Dolphins, they play the Colts, then they play at home against Kansas City November 17th, and then they have a Sunday night game at home against the 49ers, who we'll see what they look like in December. Maybe they're all back, maybe they're not. Then they're at the Rams, then they're at the Lions, Patriots, Jets again, Patriots. So, I mean, this is probably the toughest part of their schedule, the next 5 weeks.
well, let's see how they do. We'll get through it. Also, by the way, the President's Cup's going on right now. USA is destroying the world. I think they won all five matches yesterday, and they're up 2 or 3 matches already today. I was watching it earlier. So the President's Cup is pretty much the Americans just run all over them every year. It's not as competitive as the Ryder Cup, but it's fun to watch. Golf is fun to watch for me. So that's it.
How's your fantasy golf going? Are you still doing DraftKings?
Yes, but although it's kind of over now, like the season's sort of over, the height of the season. So now it starts into starting next week, they'll have like smaller tournaments that count towards next year. FedEx Cup points. So, they're a little bit harder when there's no stars in there, you got to kind of figure out who's playing well and those. So I don't really fuck around with those ones, but I did pretty well this year.
And last
won,
question
4
to
or 5
wrap it
grand.
up. How great was the course that you got to play the other week?
Oh, Friar's Head. Friar's Head was magnificent, dude. And by magnificent, it's one of the most beautiful golf courses. The last 4 holes, Phil Mickelson said, are if he could only play golf 4 holes for the rest of his life, it would be those 4 holes. I played the first 3 holes like I had never played golf before in my life. I was very nervous. I was in every stand trap. My caddies were worried that they had a long day ahead of them, but then I settled down. I shot 41 on the back, which was good for me. So overall, it was like we'll be invited back maybe, but was a once in a lifetime experience, and I'm just very fucking glad I got to do it.
Yeah.
We did sneak our phone out there and took some pictures, but I can't post them because then you'll never be invited back. But it was magical, dude. It was insane. It's $1.5 million to join that place just to get in. Just to get in the door. It's sick, dude. The clubhouse is sick. The people were very, very nice. And we don't belong there. Yeah. I would never join. Even if I had the money, I don't belong there. But yeah, it was awesome. So I hopefully thank you to the people at Friars Head that let us play. That's it, guys. Love everyone. Have a great weekend, great week, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Thank you very much for joining me. How you been? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Steve Renazizi.